Hey everybody, welcome back to GWN. I am Noctair, your host. So we're on the Town Hall 10 game today, and we had the update now for just a couple of days, and they've already put out a nerf. And as much as I hate it, I think this one was actually necessary. The bat spell was overpowered, but I wanted to take a look at what it's doing now after the nerf in the game. So it used to be you could just drop a whole bunch of bat spells and then a whole bunch of lava hounds and 3-star most 10 Hall 10 base designs. So let's try that here. I'm just going to run a few seconds of footage here of each one because it fails and I don't want to take too much time, obviously. So we send in the lava hounds, drop all the bats, let them start to work their way through the base, and it doesn't work too terrible hot. And I do this a couple of different ways to, make sure that we cover most of the general types of ways that this used to work. So this first one, we just come up from the bottom, send in the hounds to kind of distract and pick up some fire. Second one, we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to come from the outside, giving the bats a little bit of time to ramp up, get a few extra ones in, but same basic design. In go a couple of hounds to hit those ADs, down go the spells, and here you can see, yeah, they get a little bit of damage done, but there is no way this is going to get anywhere close to 3 stars. I mean, what are we, 15, 20 seconds in, and the bats are gone. And that's just, basic defenses. And then this one here, we're going to come in from the one side, and we're just going to drop all the bats outside in a cluster. There we go. And again, they'll do some damage, don't get me wrong, but this is a dozen bat spells at level 1, and it just doesn't do a whole heck of a lot of damage. Now, obviously, level 1 wasn't a whole lot to write home about originally either, but it was enough to do substantial damage. You get a 2-star, sometimes even a 3-star, depending upon how you laid it out. And I'm going to do one more test here. Let me switch over to this one. This is one of my war bases. We're just going to see what 3 level 1 spells can do to ADs when they've got some defenses around them. And here you can see not a whole heck of a lot. So, doesn't take very long until they're pretty well exhausted and they're gone. Now let's go ahead and switch it up and go to level 3 spells, which is max at Town Hall 10. And we'll just take a look at what it does on the ADs. This should be enough to give you an idea. 3 bat spells on the ADs at the top are going to be able to take them out, but the ones at the bottom, they're not. And that's because of the way the bottom ADs are defended. Between air sweepers and, well, of course the ADs themselves, but the Expos and Inferno Towers and all these things combine to prevent them from overwhelming it. Now let's take a look at a real attack. We're going to do a Lalo here. We're just going to do a straight line Lalo. This is probably the spammiest of the lava loons that you can do out there. And as you can see, the lava hounds go in, they hit the ADs, they pop. I'm kind of holding back on my bat spells a little bit. I'm going to let the defenses get cleared a bit and let those lava hounds pop before I start throwing them down. As we approach the Inferno Towers, that's when I drop the bat spells. I want to take out those Inferno Towers, and they do a pretty good job of doing that. Remember, this is level 3, but as you can see, they didn't last very long. So now I'm going to drop some more on that one AD, see if we can at least distract it while the balloons get in there, and they do. And you can see where this is going. It's going to be a 3-star, but it's not a spam 3-star per se. It's not a just drop and run away and let it go 3-star like it used to be. These bases before, I literally would just drop all the spells in one place, drop all the hounds in one place, and then just drop, the Stone Slammer or whatever and let it do its thing, and that was it. And if you were watching the Stone Slammer, you can watch it in the next one as well. It goes down a little bit quicker than it used to because it was also nerfed. And I think that the nerfs are appropriate to Town Hall 10. Like I said, I hate to admit that. You guys know me. I am 110% anti-nerf. My mantra is let's try to find a way to defend against it, or at least, let's buff some defenses or something. Don't nerf it. But in this case, there was just no way around it. And with CWLs about to start in a couple of days, and everybody really finding out about this, they had to do it. I got to say, I applaud Supercell for getting this out so fast, because if they hadn't, it just would have been a disaster for CWLs. Same basic attack. This time I just dropped all the bats in one spot and came up from the bottom with my dragons. And the bats are able to do a fairly sizable amount of damage, especially since they kind of hide behind that stone slammer and the dragons. But the moment they get out in front of it, that's it. It's all over with for the bats. And again, this same attack before was a guaranteed 3-star right off the bat. No problem. Easy peasy. In this case, I have to hold back on my heroes. I gotta take probably the full 3 minutes, or almost the full 3 minutes, which is a huge difference. It requires at least a little bit of effort, whereas it did not before. So, necessary nerf, much though I hate to admit it. It is, in fact, working much better now for Town Hall 10, where we still have the preserved attacks where you have to actually, put a little bit of effort in. You can't just drop and run and have it all work. The Stone Slammer nerf, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Yeah, it's a lot. It was 500 or 600 they dropped off of it, but even with that loss of HP, it still manages to last a long time. You can one-shot walls, so if you hit a defense that's right behind a wall, you can open it up for your heroes or whatever to go in. And it still has enough HP to work its way around a bit before it finally pops. I think the toughest part we're going to have with that is targeting, because unlike the Wall Wrecker or the Battle Blimp, which go straight for the Town Hall, or work their way into the Town Hall, obviously they don't always make it that far, this one goes from defense to defense, much like a balloon would. And wherever it ends up popping is where your clan castle troops are going to come out. So a little bit different, and you definitely got to work on the pathing for that and how you lay it out so that it doesn't end up dropping your clan castle troops somewhere that's absolutely pointless to your attack. The end of this particular attack, you can see the clan castle troops popped out, and they're going after the queen and the king and so forth, and almost didn't make the 3-star. It was actually kind of close, because the archer queen, she was on her last leg there. One more drop from those balloons and she would have been done. But just managed to kind of squeak it out there at the very end with a little bit of time left to go and pull that 3-star on it. So you can still 3-star. The bat spell does help with both Lalo as well as dragon attacks, but it's not so overpowered as to be a fast, easy, spammable 3-star. Thanks a lot for sticking around at the end of the video. Comments, questions down below. I'll be back later on with more content. And y'all take care. Keep on clashing. Bye-bye now.